Why, hello everyone. It's a recap of April 11th MLB, and we're also going to talk about some pretty extensive programming and it's kind of like regression analysis when you think about statistics and you think about variables and independent variables. We're talking some math, some complex math talk here, but if you want to dumb it down, basically different categories that we have listed and how important we think that they are in predicting the outcome of a baseball game are what this is. And there are a wide variety of factors that we could be considering. And the more that I work with the file, the more statistics we gather, the different things I want to put here. And this video today is going to talk about pitcher loss percentage and what a terrible determinant of the game outcome this number is, and what I replaced it with in the Excel file, which will be going out to everyone tomorrow who subscribed. It's $150 for the rest of the month of April. We're not even halfway through April yet. It's so worth it if you care about betting on baseball or predicting outcomes or learning about Excel and predictive programming and stuff the way that I do it. If you're interested in any of that, you should buy it, because you're going to get an email every day and you're going to piggyback on all the work that I do to make this thing better. And we're going to talk about how you can make it better without me, because why should you be restrained with what I do? You could totally do whatever you want to do, like what I did today, which is add P-Whip. I think I'm titling this video, We Got P-Whipped, I think is a good title for this, because we've added P-Whip. What is P-Whip? P-Whip stands for walks, hits, per inning pitched, I believe. It's kind of like a base runner per inning pitched type number, I believe. And the higher it is, the worse the pitcher is, usually. So this is something that I believe is better than pitcher loss percentage. Because pitcher win percentage is actually a pretty decent one, but pitcher loss percentage isn't. Now, why do I say that, and why am I able to talk declaratively about what are good numbers and good stats to use? And I'll tell you why. It's from doing this for years and also looking at the results today. Not a good day here on Monday. Losing 2/3 of our games. Why? Well, the percentages that we were using are not really good right now. The lineup factor's good, but pitcher loss percentage bad. Anything down here is bad. Bullpen ERA is bad because we've had limited stats this year. So, point of all that is, as I was digging through all this and started messing with the numbers and doing simulations, I realized we needed something better than pitcher loss, and we also need to redistribute this. Because here's how bad this is. We take this distribution and we go through it in the Excel file that you get every morning right here. Throw it right here, and I have now connected, in the version you're looking at right here, I've connected the matchup sheet to the results tab here, this area in yellow, meaning anytime we change anything here, it changes in our historical record, and we can refresh our pivot and we get a whole different look at how the day went. Stuff's moving around also. I don't know what's going on here. Point is I'm making this dynamic so that we can go back here and not do that, but do a different percentage, because those numbers were bad and this is better. And the way I know that is here. So if you refresh now, says 5 and 6. It's now still 5 and 6 because it looks like San Francisco is losing this game to San Diego, although it's still going on. It's in the 8th inning. But the point is that when you can start to mess around with these numbers, you start to see what was important. For example, if we weighted the entire outcome on only our lineup factor, which is the players that were starting batting in the game, and refresh this, it actually goes 7 and 4. It's even better. You still can't get rid of this Tampa Bay game at the top, which, I mean, what on earth? I know that this guy left the game after 13 pitches, so that's a weird thing that happened that you can't avoid. That I don't know if that was the catalyst for them losing, but certainly the catalyst for them losing was not hitting. I mean, they didn't put up 7 runs. They put up 2, and in the original thing it said they were going to put up like 8 runs. So I don't know what on earth happened there, but this is an interesting layout. That lineup factor ends up giving you a 7 in 4 day. But you can start messing around changing all this. You can say, all right, well, I don't care about lineup factor. I care about starting pitchers' win percentage only. What happens? It's 5 and 6, but you have wins at the top. What lost? This game's still going on, and Seattle for some reason didn't put up any runs against Minnesota in this game. And then you have a lot of losses at the bottom. So pitcher win percentage was actually pretty good. This new pitcher whip that I've added, it's not going to do really well because it's a negative number. This is a negative factor. Any of these factors where the higher the number it is, the worse it is. You can notice that in red, that is what that means. Green is good, red is bad. So pitcher whip's a negative stat, so it's tough for it to predict everything when you use it as the only number. Streaks, by the way, were terrible today. Look at how bad this is going to be. You think 4 and 7 was bad? What? Wait a minute. Oh, that's because I'm including the wins today. God, shut up, Kenny. Streaks for some reason worked. That's because it's including today's game, so don't count that. How about this stuff? Average runs per game. How'd this do? Some wins at the top. So our distribution was terrible. It was just terrible. And you can write a program to sample a lot of different distributions here and try to get an optimal one, or you can just keep eyeballing it, right? Let's do, this is huge with lineup factor. Bullpen area I think is bad now. For some reason streaks was working out. I almost don't even want to include these right now. They're terrible. The streaks are terrible. This is how well is the team playing. It's almost like a standings number at this point. I don't know what to do with it. Let's do something like that. So if you do something like that, how was the day? All right, see here you have a chunk of wins up top. This is the thing. Everything above 6, 7, 8% wins. Miami doesn't put up runs against the Angels for some reason. Seattle doesn't put up, and Tampa Bay was unavoidable, and this guy went out. So it's kind of like, this is not bad. And because what you're going to want to be doing is I'm going to tell you every day, I'm going to be like, hey, you can play games above 20% margin, which lost today. Then I'll say, oh, well, you can also play games above 10% margin, and those won 3 out of 4. So and by the way, look at these underdog lines on everything here. How about that? That's really interesting about this look, is that it's giving you something that clearly it's pushing these games in different positions over the odds makers, and that's this distribution right here. It's flowing through from right here right now. Now, I have to reset that every day, but it's actually not hard to reset. You can just connect it right here as we do it, because we're going to be pretty much done for today. I think I'm going to freeze today as soon as the games are finalized, and then add the stack tomorrow where I connect tomorrow's look, which will be Tuesday the 12th, into this, and then you can start messing around with this and see, how frequently a team comes up a winner if you just isolate one of these factors. You can start including different factors from the team batting or team pitching stats. Somebody asked me to do a video about all the tabs in the file and where they're all coming from. I will get to that as they get more finalized for the year, but we're combining stats between 2020 and 2021 and even prior, 2021, 2022, and then even prior to that sometimes. So it's just a disaster right now, but as soon as you get to the end of April, you can pretty much stick with current season stats, and then when you do that, you'll end up weighting your pitcher win percentage even less. WHIP is okay, and the ERA is okay, but these guys are going to have 4 or 5 starts at most, and it's not the best factor, but it will be more so later in the year, especially when you get toward the All-Star break. So there's a lot that's going to happen, and that's why I'm holding off on specifics. I haven't even incorporated the injury report yet, which will help to aggregate the people on the bench, because I don't include people on the bench right now in any calculation at all, other than what is thrown into the averages for certain things. It's not in the lineup factor. Lineup factor only has the players that are starting the game. So that's something to keep in mind as well. A lot to do, but having fun with it. Even though not a great day today, I lost money betting on baseball. You know what I took today is I took Tampa Bay's team runs. They could not get over 4.5. I took that. I took Seattle to win. They lost. I took Washington's team runs. Why did I do that? I took it because Oscar Yanoa's pitching stats were miserable here. I looked in here and I saw that Yanoa was 4-6 with a 4 year. That's not that bad. But for some reason I thought Washington would put up some runs. I don't know. It really wasn't a reason to do it, actually. But I took that and that won. And then I took something else that won. I took Toronto. So here it picked in the earlier version today, it picked Toronto to win this game, about that score, yep. And they're the fourth pick in this distribution. And I liked this game. And I thought the bullpen area factors and stuff were distorted early, so you shouldn't count them anyway. And this distribution ignores them a little more. And Toronto, I took them plus 1.5. I didn't take them to win. And they outright won, so that was good. Philadelphia came back to win. I mean, if we look at our Google sheet and our distribution, this is what went out today that wasn't altered or changed in any of the things that we were just doing right now. The Google sheet shows you that you win with Cleveland. Here, Baltimore finally wins the game. Milwaukee's not playing good this year. Colorado does win at an underdog line over Texas, and the projected score here, actually, I like that a lot. This one I like. So, why did this game work out? It predicts 6-3 with the dome situation instead of 6. Well, whatever. It predicts 6-3, and it's 6-4. That was a good one. Boston and Detroit. It showed it to be a closer game, only this 1% margin here at least. So I think it told you to stay away from Boston on the road. Detroit manages to win a low-scoring game. The right-to-left win factor at 13. What if that was in at negative 13? What does that do? If you change this to in and change this to negative 13, then all of a sudden you have a 3-2 game that actually Boston's somehow supposed to win. But you can see how this was close. And under our new distribution in the Excel file, what does that game do? That game, look at this. That game gives a 13% margin to Detroit, but that's probably because of streaks. Let's take streaks out of there, almost. Still does it. Look at that. So, that's pretty fascinating that it gets this game right. And if you were to take this distribution here and plug it back into the Google sheet over here, and put the right stuff in here, this game would probably end up, the score would flip, and it would be something like 3-2 Detroit. So that's actually good with the new distribution. And supposedly moving the win to in, which I don't know if that's actually what it was. Oakland and Tampa Bay. Unbelievable miss, other than the pitcher going out in 13 pitches, I guess, whatever. But unbelievable miss. No offense out of them. Nothing to predict that. Odds makers had them at minus 225 anyway, so everybody got fooled. That's what happens. Mets and Philly, this was a nice comeback. Look at that. So because of the wind out in Philadelphia, this goes from a 4-2 game to a 5-3 game, and it ends a 5-4 game where Philly comes back late to win. That's excellent. It's excellent. So that's good. Toronto and New York, like I said, Toronto favored here as an underdog, but the algorithm favors them. They win. Good for them. Pitching holds up. Washington, Atlanta. This game was weird, and I liked betting Washington for some reason. They put up a ton of runs. The game was a close margin anyway. So it's a loss, but it's a close margin. Seattle missed in a big loss because they were a high pick. They're second pick now under that distribution. In the new distribution, Seattle is the third pick still way up there. Nothing you can do about it. That's a loss. Then this Miami Angels game is ending, I believe, and it's also a loss. So can't get out of that. The new distribution on that game says 5-3 and makes them the 7th pick instead of the 5th pick. So at least the new distribution moves them down at least. That's good. And then the San Diego, I wonder if San Francisco comes back late and if the wind is actually still blowing out at 22 miles an hour. That's what I'd like to know. That game is going into the 9th inning, and the Padres are still winning 3-2. But the algorithm says that the Giants can pull this off, but it's a very close margin, so maybe not. There's that. So all that being said, a lot going on in here, and if you're interested in getting in on this and starting to monitor your own, eventually at the end of the month, I'm going to stop sending out the Excel file every day, and I'm going to migrate to just giving people access to the Google Sheet. And as I post the confirmed projections when the confirmed lineups are in, then you can see them and use them as you wish. So, all right, guys, busy. Good times. May all your picks be winning.